What if I told you that brand new cars with carburetors were sold until recently in a country? And what if I told you that in that country, 98% of the fleet consists only of Chevrolet vehicles? What do you think? In this video, we're going to learn more about this.
Chevrolet with the cold. Chevrolet, 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 Chevrolet. I walk towards the street, the dam is in place of a dam. And dog or rabbit. There. And there. And there.
And hey, my friends, welcome to the channel. It's a pleasure to have you here with me for a video with another automotive curiosity. Leave your like, subscribe, and let's go straight to the video without further ado. And of course, let's start with a little bit of history. You know that here on the channel, we love history, right? The Bexar, it was one of the Soviet republics, became independent in 1991, and immediately the government started a program to make the country self-sufficient, to stop relying so much on other countries. They then made a heavy investment in agriculture, mining, and manufacturing. And one of the programs also concerned the production of vehicles and engines. To encourage manufacturers to go there and produce, they used that old recipe that Brazil and other countries also use, which is what? Tax exemption, providing land, financing, infrastructure. And that's how, in 1992, the South Korean Daewoo Motors entered Uzbekistan through a joint venture, building what would become the largest vehicle factory in Central Asia. You surely remember Daewoo. It was here in Brazil, passed through here, produced the Lanus, the Nubira, which is quite rare to see, and the famous Esper, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, which was a car that looked like a spaceship for its time, right? Many people remember it, and soon I want to make a video just about it, so subscribe now so you don't miss it. Well, a lot will happen until GM takes control of Daewoo and starts producing cars under the Chevrolet brand for Uzbekistan and Ravan for export to neighboring countries. The Chevrolet Cobalt, for example, was sold in some countries, as the Ravan R4. In this partnership, GM held a 25% stake in the company, while the Uzbek government held the remaining 75%. And of course, being the main shareholder, the Uzbek government began to encourage the purchase of Chevrolet vehicles as well as protecting the market from other brands, leaving consumers with no other option but Chevrolet. Imported cars were taxed with a 30% rate plus $3 for each cubic centimeter of engine volume. Of course, under these conditions, Chevrolet dominated the market fiercely. This dominance was so bizarre that until recently, 94% of the vehicles there were Chevrolet, and if you exclude commercial vehicles, this number reaches 98% of the market. To make matters worse, Uzbekistan is landlocked, and its neighbors also have no access to the ocean. In other words, importing vehicles there would be even more difficult. In summary, adding up all the difficulties, buying a car that wasn't a Chevrolet in Uzbekistan usually cost 100% to 150% more than in any other country. Uzbekistan then became one of GM's largest markets worldwide, along with the United States and Brazil, of course. The preferred model there is the Cobalt, perhaps because it is also the cheapest. In a free conversion without taxes, something like around $56,000. And it still hasn't been updated to the latest model we had here. There. It uses a naturally aspirated 1.5 engine with 105 horsepower. But the portfolio is broad with Captiva, Tracker, Equinox, Traverse, and for the magnates, the Tahoe. Besides them, there are the sedans, Onyx, Lasse, and Malibu. Now, the most curious of all the cars is certainly the Chevrolet Damas. This vehicle became very famous when the Ukraine war started. As soon as the war began, Russia faced various sanctions and several automakers, I'm not saying all the Western ones, left the Russian market. So how were they going to meet the demand for trucks and vehicles? Well, the first thing they did was lower the emission standards. You know, that Euro 1, Euro 2. So Russia went on to produce trucks at Euro 0 or Euro 1 levels, just so you know. And some vehicles were allowed to be imported into Russia without meeting these standards. And that's when it appeared. The Chevrolet Damas, a vehicle that closely resembles a Towner and still used a carburetor at the time. I believe it still does, but it's not very easy to get this information. Since these countries are very closed off, the engine is tiny, a 0.8 with 38 horsepower, taking an incredible 41 seconds to go from 0 to 100. That's probably when empty, because when full, I think it's better to replace the speedometer with a calendar to know what day you'll arrive at your destination. But being one of the few affordable commercial vehicles there, it ends up being the only option for many entrepreneurs, both in the passenger and cargo versions. Fortunately, it seems that things are changing there. With an eye on new technologies and especially a major partnership with China, it's now possible to see many BYD models on the streets, which also benefit from a tax exemption, along with BMW and Kia. By the way, another curiosity for you, these countries, which are former Soviet republics, have a lot of Kia cars. It's amazing how many Kias we see there. But one thing we have to admit, although the Cobalt is very, very far from being a beautiful car, both inside and out, it's a very pleasant car to drive and of very good quality. I know there will be people who will see this in the comments and criticize, but that's a fact. If you've ever driven a Cobalt, you know how fun it is to drive. It's a wide, spacious car. Not to mention the maintenance. This car practically requires no maintenance. You can find parts anywhere, and any mechanic knows how to work on it. I believe that this GM engine, which equips the Cobalt along with the AP engine, was one of the best engines ever made in Brazil. In terms of cost benefit, it's a shame that over time it ends up being discontinued and some engines of questionable quality come along. Of course, those who like turbo and a lot of technology don't really like the Cobalt's engine, but those who appreciate durability and ease of maintenance know that this engine is very good. So, did you enjoy learning about this curiosity? Then go ahead and share this video with that friend you always talk to about vehicles. And don't forget that, if you want, you can become a member of the channel. I just started the membership club, and I already want to thank the first 2 members of the channel who are already helping and encouraging. We are here to improve the editing and the quality of the equipment to record and always bring the best content to you. In the comments there are pinned links to good books and articles about vehicles, which I also use for my personal study. So, if you want to gift someone or something, take a look at the links there. Thank you very much and see you next time.